on, everyone? Welcome back to YGOPD, your Yu-Gi-Oh! Professional Development. It's been a little bit, no excuse other than just the busyness and chaoticness of life and a little bit of poor planning mixed in. But nonetheless, I wanted to come back and showcase something I've been working on for a while. It's been really a struggle for me to want to showcase this because it's a hard deck to play, and I feel like a hard deck to get right. It's just on the cusp of, I think, being really good. But this is Rikka Sunavalon. I don't want to take too much time. I want to go ahead and just hop straight into the deck profile and talk a little bit about it as we go. If this video does get some love, about 10 likes, a few hundred views here and there, I am happy to showcase a little bit of an analysis and some combo guides as well as some test hands for the deck. But with all that said, we'll go ahead and hop straight into it. I'm going to do this in terms of starters, extenders, card rolls, all that good stuff. So starting off, we are on 3 Sunseed Genus Loci. If you want space, you can cut this down to 2 or even 1 if you are playing Unexpected Die. Just the unfortunate evil of this deck is, yes, it's a lot of 1-card combos. However, those combos are very frail. So you still want to see as many plants as you can using Unexpected Die, and then still having the normal summon to follow up as a quote-unquote extender is really powerful. But Loci to the Sunseed here is what gets everything started for you. And to pair with that, of course, we are playing the 3 Unexpected Die. This is just emergency teleport for our normal monsters. And of course, all these starters are cards that create essentially threats by themselves, which is either a negate or a form of disruption, or multiples of those just all on their own. So all of these cards are showcasing here are starters that are going to create a form of either negate or disruption. Going in line with that, we have 3 Rikka Petal. This is what lets you add a Rikka from deck to hand. Typically, you're going to do Mudon and then tribute it off to then either get into the field spell line, get Glamour, or Sheet, depending on how your hand is. And then we, of course, play the 3 Rikka Glamour, one of the most amazing search spells ever printed. Adds a Rikka from deck to hand, then you contribute a plant monster, and then you can instead add a second Rikka whose level is the same as which you searched the first of. So example is, you activate this, tribute a plant, add a level 4, then you can add another level 4 Rikka from deck to hand. So typically you're getting a card like Princess and Primula back to back. And then, of course, the 1 Lone Fire. This is kind of part of the combo, but also will, of course, get you your full combo if you just open it anyway, because this can just get Loci from the deck. So that is it for kind of our main starters. We're floating right around 13 in our 40-card deck, so we're just on the cusp of that 90% mark to hit one of those. So I'm going to showcase a few superior extenders that will kind of help with that. The first being 3 Pot of Prosperity. You don't have to play this. I understand extra deck space is pretty tight, but if you're wondering what you typically get rid of, you can get rid of at least 1 Strenna, technically 1 Dryas, and then 1 Jasmine. That's kind of the 3 flex spots that you have full room to get rid of in the extra deck that you have multiples of that you don't necessarily need to go through your full combo. But of course, you can still kind of adjust that and banish certain things depending on what you think you may or may not go into on that first combo. But I do like Prosperity. Digging a little bit extra deeper is really important. Same thing with Princess here. This is just essentially a free special summon just because. It's a really nuts card. Tributing a plant from cost and banishing this card from grave as cost to negate a monster effect is really nuts, especially with the field spell. To tribute a monster and then negate a monster is just really powerful. And then 2 Mudon, depending on how you want to do this, I've really thought about trying to just do a Rikka pure version with triple Mudon, triple of other things, and a lot of hand traps or board breakers. But for now, in this build with the Sunavalon blended, 2 Mudon is fine. You want 1 for the combo and 1 for the follow-up, but this card is absolutely insane. And then the 1 Sewing, this is technically a combo piece that you search off as you go through, but also is a really good extender nonetheless to get Loci or to get Twin, depending on how your combo opens. So that is it for our superior extenders of the deck. Cards that you really want to see to pair with a starter to make your end board that much more crazy. And then additional extenders, cards that may require a little bit of work, but will still help your combo nonetheless. Starting off, we have the 2 Primula. You can get away with 1, but again, guaranteeing that 2 for 1 off of Rikka Glamour is so important. So that way, if you hard open one, you still have 2 names to search off it is just important. And then in that same vein, we play 1 of the Snowdrop to kind of help with the combo. That's really it for the monster piece of that. And then we play, you could kind of consider this an extender. Depending on your hand, it typically will act that way. 3 Rikka Concon. This could also be considered a board breaker depending on what your hand looks like, because you contribute plant monsters and your opponent's monsters are going to be treated that way while this card is face up. So this is really, really good. It lets you set a Rikka card. Typically, you're getting Sheet or Glamour just to continue searching. And then the one engine requirement of the deck, unfortunately, is the Sun Seed Twin. This card is great when it resolves, and when you don't open it, it's absolutely amazing. But otherwise, it is just really, really unfortunate to have. Again, it's hard because this and Sowing almost can feel like soft garnets. So I really thought about just a pure version, but you really do need the Sun Avalon piece to help you quite along. Jasmine is quite a house of a card. And then moving on, we're going to talk about just the board breakers and or the hand traps. I've gone for a little bit of a different route here. I've chosen more power cards. You have about 10 to 12 flex spots, maybe even a little more, depending on how optimized you want your packages to be. But this deck thrives in both a simplified game state and aims to create a simplified game state and then control from there. So we're focusing on cards that let you do that. Dark Ruler No More is just one of those powerful cards that you really can exploit for that. It's not the greatest, obviously, because Tyr can continue playing, but turning off everything except for maybe 1 or 2 interruptions that they continue to build is going to be really important nonetheless, and still is great on Sprite. 3 Imperm. This can be whatever, but I think this is probably the most versatile piece. Either using it if you can tell your hand is bad, cutting them off at a critical combo point, or just saving it again to go on your turn to turn off a integral piece of negation and keep playing. And then in that same line, we're also on 3 Rivalry. This deck can use it incredibly well. There's no reason not to play it. It really helps shut off anything that you're dealing with. And it's a great both going first and going second card to kind of help either simplify the game state or prevent your opponent from climbing out of that simplified game state that you have created. So, and then the last 2 cards, pretty straightforward, but we have the 1 Sheet and the 1 Called By. Rikka Sheet is really, really solid. It just is basically tribute 1, take 1 from your opponent. It's really, really powerful. And then the 1 Called By, obviously, you just want your stuff to resolve. So, moving on here, we will go ahead and take a look at the extra deck. I will go ahead and do it in a way that is, I guess, from biggest link down to lowest link, and then on to the Xyz from there. But starting off with the link 4s, we have, of course, the 1 Bangalancer. This guy is really, really nuts. It's just free bounce for pretty much anything. You do take damage on it, unfortunately, but it's definitely a house of a card, and being able to just banish a couple plant links specifically that at least get up to 4 exactly to bring him back is still really powerful. The 1 Melius just to climb into that guy, and then the 2 Jasmine, you don't have to play this. This could be a something else, but again, I have flex spots. I like Prosperity, and the way I built it, it makes an easy way for me to identify what my Prosperity targets are. But Jasmine is just like the most insane card. Like, making this is the like whole reason of why the Sun Avalon engine's in here. It just is an insane card. It does literally everything. 1 Dance Peon, really great extender, comes up in a lot of niche situations. You do have to get a little bit lucky, but with the amount of plants and plant names you play, it's not really that hard to do, but still a really cool extender. And then for the link 1s, we do play 3 Dryas. Technically, you only need 2 for the combo to actually work, but you can play more if you decide to do that. So, but yeah, 3 Dryas is definitely really, really solid. And then we play the 1 Healer and the 1 Thrasher. You could just play 2 Healer, get the extra 300. I like the little bit of versatility of the Thrasher. It doesn't really come up too much, but it is still nice to have. And that is it for our links. And then for the Xyz, it's pretty straightforward. We have 1 of the Sylvan here, and then the 2 Sylvans, basically, Hyperton and High Protector, basically. Both really neat options. More going first here for Hyperton, and then second for the Protector. But both are really, really powerful cards. This is something that you typically go into off of your Rikka lines. And then the third one is kind of our other option of choice, going first or kind of second, depending on if you have Con or not. Teardrop the Rikka Queen just lets you gonna tribute an opponent's monster, basically, with that field spell. And then we just play 2 Strenna. Depending on the grind game, you can make both of these, but usually you're only making 1 and then getting down to that simplified game state. So a little bit fast, a little short and sweet, but this is definitely a really cool deck. I think it will continue to be perfected. It is truly just 1 or 2 cards away from being 100% able to be pure as Rikka. I really like it. Con is an insane field spell. Princess is amazing support. If you haven't had the chance to play around with something you want a decent, fun rogue deck to kind of screw around with, this will kind of be it. So, yeah, with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Later.